prepare for a potential heavyweight seismic event that could shake the foundations of combat sports. UFC heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall has thrown his hat into the boxing ring, expressing keen interest in a crossover big fight or freak show bout against none other than former UFC kingpin Francis Ngannou. It's a dream matchup that's suddenly looking a little less like fantasy and a lot more like a tantalizing possibility. Welcome back to Combat Buzz Daily. Today, we've got a huge update involving UFC heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall and his very public call for a boxing match with Francis Ngannou. We also have reactions from Ngannou, breaking info about the contractual hurdles that make this dream a challenge, and updates on Aspinall's current UFC obligations. Let's jump straight into it. The combat sports world is buzzing after Tom Aspinall, fresh off his interim UFC heavyweight championship reign, revealed his ambitions for a massive boxing showdown with Francis Ngannou. Aspinall, who last stepped into the octagon at UFC 321 in October of this year, declared his openness to facing the Predator in the squared circle. He stated, "I reckon I could have a couple of not freak show fights, but big fights, you know what I mean? I wouldn't mind boxing an MMA fighter. Francis Ngannou? I think that would be good. I like it." Aspinall's perspective on a boxing career is refreshingly candid. At 33 years old, he has no illusions of becoming a world champion in professional boxing, acknowledging that such a feat requires a lifelong dedication he's already given to MMA. "For me to be 33 and then think I'm going to win a world title in boxing is unrealistic," he admitted. Instead, he sees a clash with Ngannou as a high-profile, big-money event, focusing on compelling matchups rather than chasing boxing gold. He believes he would hold a technical edge in such a boxing match, despite recognizing Ngannou as a scary man. However, Aspinall was quick to clarify that his immediate future remains firmly rooted in the UFC. He emphasized that he has a number of fights left to fulfill in his current UFC contract before he can seriously consider any move into boxing. This aligns with the recent news that Aspinall's last outing at UFC 321 against Cyril Gane ended in a no contest due to an accidental eye poke in the first round. Interestingly, Francis Ngannou himself offered support to Aspinall after that controversial incident, calling him a warrior. Now, let's talk about the crossover context. Francis Ngannou, as we know, is currently signed with the PFL in their superfight division. Crucially, his PFL contract explicitly allows him to pursue high-profile boxing matches, a freedom he famously utilized in his bouts against Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Ngannou also recently returned to MMA action in October 2024, securing a first-round knockout victory over Renan Ferreira in a PFL event. While a direct co-promotion between the UFC and PFL for an Aspinall-Ngannou boxing match seems highly unlikely given the UFC's historical reluctance in such matters, there's a new twist. Ngannou has recently teased that his PFL contract is approaching its end, even hinting at a potential UFC return. This development, coupled with Ngannou's continued interest in boxing, certainly keeps the heavyweight crossover dream alive, even if its path remains complex. This isn't a scheduled event yet, but the conversation has definitely intensified.
Our top story today involves Tom Aspinall, who has just made a compelling statement regarding his future in combat sports, openly discussing a potential blockbuster boxing match against former UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou. This revelation came during a recent appearance on his YouTube channel, where Aspinall, the current undisputed UFC heavyweight champion, trained alongside boxer Tommy Fury. According to reports covering the candid conversation, Aspinall said, "I'd never be a world champ. I wouldn't try and be a world champion. You need to dedicate your whole life, don't you? I spent my whole life doing MMA now. I'm nearly 33 now. So for me to be 33 and then think that I'm going to win a world title in boxing is unrealistic." He continued, specifying his interest in the Predator himself. "I reckon I could have a couple of, not freak show fights, but big fights. Yeah, like a big name or something. I wouldn't mind boxing an MMA fighter, you know what I mean? Ngannou, yeah, I think that'd be good." Aspinall also confidently asserted, "I like the fight. I think he is very, very dangerous. I think that I'm a smart fighter with a good IQ, and I think that I could navigate that danger well." This has caused major reactions across the MMA community. Fans have been quick to envision the colossal money fight, with many commenting on the immense financial draw and the possibility of circumventing the typical promotional hurdles between the UFC and PFL. Social media users have debated the viability of the fight, with some questioning the boxing credentials of two MMA heavyweights, while others view it as a shrewd business move given the lucrative payouts in high-profile boxing events. Analysts believe that Aspinall's rationale is clear. He sees a potential clash with Ngannou not as a quest for a boxing world title, but as a high-profile, big-money event.
Aspinall's age and lifelong dedication to mixed martial arts make a full transition to professional boxing for championship pursuits an unrealistic goal for him, yet he remains confident in his technical boxing abilities, even against a scary man like Ngannou. However, Aspinall has emphatically stressed that his immediate priority remains with the UFC, confirming that he has 2 bouts remaining on his current contract that he must fulfill before seriously considering any move to the boxing ring. Notably, his father also recently stated that Tom has 3 more fights left on the contract now, and I don't want to sign a new contract. This situation could affect future heavyweight title discussions, especially as Aspinall has just signed the contract for his first undisputed UFC title defense. Francis Ngannou, currently signed to the PFL, has a contract that famously permits him to engage in high-profile boxing matches, as seen in his bouts against Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Ngannou himself has expressed a strong desire to continue his boxing career, aiming to regain what boxing took from me after his recent knockout loss to Anthony Joshua. While a crossover fight would likely necessitate an agreement with the UFC for co-promotion, a concept the organization has historically been reluctant to entertain, the allure of a massive payday, potentially influenced by Saudi investment in combat sports, could change that dynamic. As of now, the fight remains a topic of exciting discussion rather than a scheduled event, with both fighters committed to their existing contractual obligations.
Dana White recently responded to mounting speculation surrounding a potential UFC return for Francis Ngannou, particularly in light of Tom Aspinall's recent comments about a crossover boxing match. White pulled no punches, reiterating his firm stance on the Predator. "There was nothing that made me happier than throwing that guy over to the fucking PFL," White stated, making his feelings abundantly clear. "Let me tell you what, if we let guys go, feel bad for the fucking company that gets them. We let them go for a fucking reason. I don't have to let anybody go. I don't want to be in business with guys that I don't like and that I don't think are good guys." Dana seemed incredibly heated and frustrated, especially regarding his past issues and deeply fractured relationship with Ngannou. He delved into previous alleged physical altercations, recounting an incident where Ngannou reportedly grabbed him during a disagreement over bonus money. White recalled Ngannou putting a hand on his chest and saying, "We're not done talking yet," to which White responded, "Oh, we're fucking done talking." He also mentioned a similar alleged incident involving UFC CBO Hunter Campbell. While later clarifying it wasn't a threatening physical encounter, the sentiment of betrayal and disrespect was palpable. He clarified that any notion of Francis Ngannou ever stepping back into the octagon, or the UFC co-promoting any event involving him, including a dream boxing match with Tom Aspinall, is completely off the table, insisting that, "I don't know how I can make it any more fucking clear that I don't want Ngannou back." This sparked more reactions online, with many fans interpreting Aspinall's expressed interest in fighting Ngannou as potentially putting him on the wrong side of power with Dana White. Aspinall, for his part, maintained his primary focus remains on his UFC contractual obligations before seriously considering any boxing ventures. However, White's unequivocal refusal to entertain any idea of Ngannou returning underscores the deep-seated animosity, making any future reconciliation or a cross-promotional bout an increasingly distant fantasy. Reports now say that UFC is trying to finalize a much-anticipated rematch between heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane. This comes after their original bout at UFC 321 in October 2025 ended in a no contest due to an accidental double eye poke that left Aspinall unable to continue. On the significant hurdles preventing a crossover super fight between Aspinall and Francis Ngannou, Dana White has repeatedly dismissed the idea of co-promotion, stating emphatically, "No, I'm not interested in that. We tried to make that fight, they didn't want to do it, and it's done. I'm not interested. We've got 1, 2, and 3 top-selling pay-per-views in the MSG. They, the PFL, can't sell a fucking gate." White's stance highlights the deep-seated reluctance of the UFC to engage in joint ventures, a policy that significantly complicates any potential Aspinall and Ngannou boxing match. The UFC wants to rebook the heavyweight title rematch between Aspinall and Gane as soon as possible, but significant scheduling problems due to Aspinall's eye injury are pushing things back. Aspinall is currently dealing with persistent double vision and has been diagnosed with significant traumatic bilateral Brown syndrome, a rare condition affecting eye movement. He is strictly forbidden from training, has no definitive return timeline, and medical professionals are even discussing the possibility of surgery or painful injections directly into his eyes to rectify the damage. This ongoing recovery makes any immediate talks of a boxing match with Ngannou purely speculative, as Aspinall remains committed to fulfilling his UFC contractual obligations once medically cleared.
This intricate situation could result in Francis Ngannou continuing his pursuit of a high-profile boxing match against Deontay Wilder. Ngannou's PFL contract is reportedly close to expiring, and he expects to be a free agent before the UFC's event at the White House in the summer of 2026. Ngannou himself has confirmed he has one fight left on his PFL deal and is keen on a boxing return to regain what boxing took from me after his losses to Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. He has openly expressed his desire to face Wilder next in boxing, making it a clear alternative given Aspinall's current medical situation and UFC commitments. UFC interim heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall has recently reaffirmed his strong interest in a high-profile boxing match against former UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou, viewing it not as a quest for a world title, but rather a significant big fight or even a freak show bout. Aspinall responded to the ongoing discussions in recent interviews, stating, "I'm not aiming to become a global boxing legend. That would demand your entire existence. I've poured my life into MMA up to now, and at nearly 33, dreaming of snagging a world title in boxing just feels like a pipe dream." He elaborated on his intentions, adding, "But I could picture myself in a handful of high-profile bouts, not the kind of gimmicky spectacles, but meaningful clashes. Imagine taking on a big-name opponent, and yeah, even an MMA fighter wouldn't be out of the question." Aspinall specifically mentioned Ngannou, noting, "Ngannou, yeah, I think that'd be good." While acknowledging Ngannou as a scary man, Aspinall believes he would possess the technical edge in a boxing encounter. This perspective highlights Aspinall's strategic thinking, prioritizing lucrative, high-profile events over chasing boxing championships, especially with 2 fights still remaining on his current UFC contract. Meanwhile, Francis Ngannou has unequivocally stated he is not done with boxing, following his knockout loss to Anthony Joshua earlier this year. Ngannou expressed a determined resolve to continue his boxing journey, declaring, "I just have to let you know that it's not over yet. Not at all. We're just getting started." He aims to regain my respect, to claim my dignity, to claim everything that boxing took from me after the Joshua fight. Ngannou has publicly targeted Deontay Wilder as his next opponent, stating, "It's time to finally settle this score," with reports indicating talks for such a bout could commence soon, potentially in early 2026. Ngannou believes he could defeat Wilder, citing Wilder's boxing abilities as way below that of other top heavyweights, despite his immense punching power. This only fueled more speculation about a potential boxing crossover event. Interestingly, the Predator recently showed solidarity with Aspinall following his controversial eye poke incident against Cyril Gane at UFC 321. Ngannou publicly supported Aspinall's decision to stop fighting, stating, "Tom's a warrior, he just got an unfortunate break." He further emphasized the seriousness of the injury, explaining, "There are things a fighter can fight through, but when it comes to not being able to see, it's not only dangerous for the opponent, but also for yourself. You have to be smart and protect your health." He reiterated, "The eye poke is not like you get kicked in the balls and you can recover and come back. It compromises your vision." New reports revealed that UFC heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall has been diagnosed with a rare eye condition following his controversial no contest against Cyril Gane at UFC 321. Sources say Aspinall is suffering from persistent double vision and may require surgery and injections into his eyeballs, leaving his return to the octagon indefinite. And fans instantly reacted with concern for his health and anticipation for a rescheduled rematch. This may not be the biggest story of the day, but it definitely affects the entire UFC heavyweight division and the highly anticipated rematch with Gane. All right, let's dive deeper into the immediate future for the now undisputed UFC heavyweight champion, Tom Aspinall. Fresh off the highly anticipated clash at UFC 321 in Abu Dhabi on October 25th, Aspinall's title defense against Cyril Gane ended abruptly in a controversial no contest. Just minutes into the first round, an accidental eye poke from Gane left Aspinall unable to continue, prompting the referee to wave off the bout. The champion was clearly frustrated, reportedly stating he can't see. Post-fight, the severity of the injury became starkly clear. Aspinall has since been diagnosed with significant traumatic bilateral Brown syndrome, a rare condition that affects eye movement, resulting in persistent double vision. He hasn't returned to training since the October incident, with doctors discussing the possibility of surgery on both eyes and even painful injections directly into his eyeballs. UFC CEO Dana White has expressed a strong desire to rebook the Aspinall-Gane rematch as soon as the British heavyweight receives medical clearance, but Aspinall's recovery timeline remains completely unknown. This eye-watering setback puts a pause on a truly momentous year for Aspinall.
Remember, it was just earlier this year, on June 21st, 2025, that Tom Aspinall was officially promoted to undisputed UFC heavyweight champion. This came after the unexpected retirement of the legendary Jon Jones. For months, the MMA world had clamored for a unification bout between then interim champion Aspinall and Jones, a fight that Dana White himself had been 100% confident would happen in 2025. However, negotiations hit a wall, and Jones ultimately stepped away from the sport, paving the way for Aspinall to inherit the throne. Aspinall, who had previously declared, "I will retire Jon Jones without even fighting him," somewhat prophetically saw that prediction come true. Now, with the undisputed title firmly around his waist, the immediate focus shifts from Jones's ghost to Aspinall's own recovery and the highly anticipated do-over with Cyril Vane. The division is on hold, waiting for its champion to heal and reclaim his momentum.
The highly anticipated crossover boxing match between UFC heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall and former UFC kingpin Francis Ngannou remains firmly in the realm of speculation, a true dream fight for combat sports fans that's currently on an indefinite hold. Despite Aspinall himself openly expressing interest in a potential big fight or freak show bout with Ngannou, the logistical and personal roadblocks are immense, making this electrifying matchup nothing more than a hypothetical for now. Aspinall, who recently became the undisputed champion after Jon Jones' retirement, is unfortunately sidelined with a severe double eye injury. He sustained accidental eye pokes from Cyril Vane during their UFC 321 clash in October 2025, which ended in a no contest. The British heavyweight has since revealed a diagnosis of significant traumatic bilateral Brown syndrome, a rare condition leaving him with persistent double vision and limited eye movement. He's currently not cleared to train, faces potential surgery on both eyes, and may even require injections directly into his eyeballs, leaving his return timeline completely unknown. His immediate focus is squarely on recovery, with a rematch against Vane also on the cards once he's medically cleared. Meanwhile, Francis Ngannou continues to navigate his career outside the UFC. He's currently under contract with the PFL, where he notably knocked out Renan Ferreira in October 2024. The Predator has made it clear his PFL contract is slated to end in 2026, which would open the door for a potential return to free agency and possibly more high-profile boxing ventures. Ngannou has already tasted the boxing ring against titans like Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, and has even been linked to a mixed rules bout against Deontay Wilder, a prospect discussed by the PFL Bros for 2024. However, the most formidable obstacle blocking any Aspinall-Ngannou showdown isn't an injury or a contract, but the unyielding stance of UFC CEO Dana White. The animosity between White and Ngannou is well documented and deeply personal. White has repeatedly shut down any notion of Ngannou returning to the UFC or the organization collaborating with him, stating unequivocally that he has zero interest in bringing the Predator back. White has even gone as far as to recount a contentious interaction where Ngannou allegedly put his hand on his chest during a dispute over a bonus, intensifying White's personal feelings on the matter. His sentiment, "There was nothing that made me happier than throwing that guy over to the effing PFL," leaves little doubt about the UFC's reluctance to engage in any co-promotional efforts involving Ngannou. Historically, the UFC has shown extreme reluctance to co-promote events, and White's personal and professional feud with Ngannou only solidifies that position. So while the thought of these two heavyweight titans squaring off in a boxing ring is undeniably thrilling, until Aspinall recovers, Ngannou sorts out his future, and an unprecedented reconciliation occurs, this dream fight will unfortunately remain just that, a dream. What do you think about today's updates? Should Aspinall get a big boxing match with Ngannou, or should they focus solely on their MMA careers? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe for daily MMA updates here at Combat Buzz Daily. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.